Alright, I'm going to make a video on the storm because it doesn't look like it's going to form in the next hour or two when it's going to make landfall. So this is potential Tropical Cyclone 3, also known as basically Tropical Depression 3. And in the next 48 hours and 5 days, it has a 90% chance of cyclone formation, but it looks like we're in at 10%. So maximum sustained winds of 45 miles an hour, minimum central pressure of 1,007 millibars, moving north at 16 miles an hour, about to make landfall in Louisiana. So if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell, and let's get right on into it. So we're going to start off here with our arrival time of winds with wind speed probabilities. And it does look like we're going to see tropical storm force winds in the New Orleans area and southeast Louisiana in general, but there's a pretty good chance of these tropical storm force winds sticking around well through landfall, possibly even into Alabama. So might be a long trek for the damage of this storm. So here is the warnings in cone. You can see we have a lot of tropical storm force winds at the moment. This is expected to form into a tropical storm and then weaken, but as I said, this has been a potential tropical cyclone for a full 24 hours now, and it still hasn't formed. So it doesn't look like it's going to form. And if it does form, well, that's just going to make all these impacts worse. So let's move on here to the rain potential, which you can see the worst of the rain is in between New Orleans and Montgomery, and then a second area of the worst of the rain is from Birmingham to Augusta. Now, in terms of flash flooding potential, this has grown in the last few hours. So much of the southeast is at least 10% chance for flash flooding. So here's our key messages for the storm. The system is expected to produce heavy rainfall and considerable flash urban and stream flooding tonight and through the weekend along the central Gulf Coast. Flood impacts will spread northeastward into the southern Appalachians. Tropical storm conditions have begun already in portions of the central Gulf Coast from east of Morgan City, Louisiana, to the Okaloosa-Walton County line, Florida, including New Orleans. These winds will spread inland and continue into Saturday. Here is the storm as of now, and we're just trying to see a solid low pressure system form here. There is a little bit of spin in this storm right in here, but we could also see a secondary area of spin right in here. So it needs to try and figure this out if it's going to form into a tropical storm, but right now it's just a tropical disturbance. Current storm information, global and hurricane models all show this kind of taking the same track, taking a turn to the east, and then eventually riding up the northeast coast as it starts to take a turn to the north. The GEFS here showing about that same track, maybe a little bit further north and taking a sharper turn to the east, and the GEPS taking almost the exact same track as the global hurricane models. Intensity guidance all show this weakening, as of course it is going to make landfall in Louisiana, and that will make those winds go down, of course. So here is the European model, which takes this a little bit further out before it takes that turn toward the north. And we're left here. I'm actually going to go to the NAM 3-kilometer model, and we're going to zoom in on the southeast U.S. Here's the storm. It makes landfall, and right now there's no low pressure until right in here. But either way, this storm is going to be messy. So a lot of heavy rain coming right in off the Gulf. And since this storm takes a turn to the east, almost paralleling the Gulf, that continuous stream of moisture into the U.S. from this storm continues for a little bit before it starts to go further inland toward the Appalachians. Now, in terms of total accumulated precipitation, we can see here that most of the rain is going to fall right along the coastline. We're actually going to go back a model run. Most of the rainfall is going to fall right along the coastline, and a secondary area is going to form as it starts to move to the east, and that northern barrier is kind of forcing all of that moisture right up against the southern area of the Appalachians, and that could form a little bit of a rain shadow effect. But not really, but you can see that there's a line there where the Appalachians lie. So we're going to move on here to our wind speeds, which of course are already at tropical storm force, but this is going to continue to be tropical storm force throughout the day and eventually push inland as well, with most of the winds being on the eastern side of the low pressure when one does form. Eventually, of course, that all disintegrates as the low pressure disintegrates. But that is really all I have for this storm. Either way, if it does form or if it doesn't form, this is going to be pretty harsh on the Gulf Coast, so make sure to be prepared for flash flooding, some storm surge, as well as being out of power. But that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.